EFF leader Julius Malema, and we take you there live now. Good evening, Mzwandile.
Well, very good evening to you, Iman, and of course the viewers. Indeed, it's a very special broadcast, this one. We're speaking to the leader of the third biggest party in the country, Julius Malema, and of course he will tell me why he's been avoiding me, because we should have spoken a long time ago, but here he is, so we will have to do it this time round. Mr. Malema, thank you very much. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
So we've been chasing each other, but you've been running away. Got you now.
No. I think we must be happy that we're meeting now. Yeah. And greetings to yourself and colleagues and the viewers at home. The diaries were refusing to meet, but eventually we are here. Yes.
Good. Well, 10th anniversary, and already your t-shirt is saying that.
Yeah.
So you look very happy when you walked in here. You walked very happy. So you are 10 years old.
Absolutely. We are 10 years old against the doomsayers. On the 28th, we're having a public launch at the Constitutional Hill, where we held the first press conference, where we announced that we're going to form a political party. So we are tracing back our steps to where we started, to where we are now, whether we are in the right direction or did we deviate from the founding objectives of this movement.
It was never your intention to form this party.
Absolutely.
So here you are now. Any regrets?
Well, I don't have any regrets. I think the ANC's decision was a blessing in disguise, because the question has always been, do we continue to agitate for economic freedom from within, or should we form an alternative platform where this issue will be agitated without any disturbance or being told that you are violating this or that rule or constitution of the party. Even in the Youth League times, we had actually formed a party within a party. We had turned the Youth League into a political party. You will remember, you were there. After interviewing the ANC on any matter, you'll have to get the Youth League opinion on the same subject.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, clearly you are saying no regrets. So
absolutely.
That expulsion was
it was a blessing in disguise.
What happened to my blood is green, is black, green, and gold?
This is what happened this year. Don't look too far. It's black, green, and gold. And then with a spear marked by the blood of the defeated heroes and heroines of our people. So nothing has changed. Black, green, and gold is right behind you.
But you made the ANC. Well, remember, you joined the ANC at a very, very young age. In fact, I think many people will remember that you caught that bus. I think you were 9.
Yes.
Coming to the funeral of Chrisan.
At Chrisan, I was between 12 and 13 when I came here. We were, like many others, we were all born in the ANC.
Yeah.
But that ANC that we described at that time is not the ANC that we see today. It's a completely different animal. And what makes me happy is that the ANC that expelled us 10 years ago is the ANC that is at the helm of the leadership positions today, which it's very clear that when Rupert said at that time, the Youth League is like an irritating mosquito which needs a doom, and Cyril Ramaphosa became that doom. And today he's the president of the ANC, because the Youth League was an irritation and a threat to their personal accumulation of wealth through being co-opted members of capital by the establishment.
You hit hard when you speak about the ANC. In fact, how you describe them, you actually saying they long dead. So those are normally your words. But would you at some point be able to work with them, given the dynamics in the country and how politics of South Africa is evolving?
Well, the ANC figuratively is dead. It's no longer a leader of society. It's no longer that thinking tank of our society. It's no longer a reservoir of the best and the advanced detachment in society. And therefore, you don't expect anything from the ANC. And when we work with them, it's not because we work with them as a leader of society. we work with them as followers because they've become followers of the EFF. They tail behind the EFF. And any new idea or anything that they seek to do in whatever form, they imitate the EFF. So we are not to reject supporters. The ANC, if it's a supporter of the EFF, let me give you an example. Just this weekend, we went to clean in zone 13 in Sebokeng, cleanup campaign. Announced we're going to launch and restart on a cleanup campaign. On Saturday, what happens? Boom, the ANC is there on Friday, coming to clean the same spot that the EFF has cleaned. Who becomes the leader of society? Is the EFF, and the ANC follows.
Well, but in terms of the electorate,
yes,
the ANC still has the lion's share of support. Of course, that will be tested again in the next 14 months.
Yes.
Many pundits have been saying, Mr. Malema, perhaps it will be difficult for any party to reach outright if in the event, let's say, the ANC dips below 50. Would you be able to work with the ANC in the coalition?
We talk to everyone. If they accept our conditions, remember at the time, we had given the ANC a very clear conditions of what we want. And the DA correctly so says, if the ANC was to work with the EFF, they will be in danger. Because they know that the EFF is uncompromising when it comes to its own principles. Once they accept our principles of land expropriation without compensation, free quality education, 24/7 clinics, anyone who wants to implement that together with the EFF were more than willing.
But the ANC hasn't accepted that, but somehow you do work with them.
No, we don't work with the ANC. Let's take Johannesburg for instance.
I was going there.
Yes, we were appointed by a mayor of Al-Jamah, and that is not ANC. And if the mayor of Al-Jamah, voted by the majority of the people, councillors in the council, decide to invite the EFF to his cabinet, why should we refuse because he also invited the ANC? I mean, typical, if you were to birthday to have your birthday celebration and you invite ANC president and you invite me, what must I do? Must say, no, I'm not coming because the ANC president is coming. If I have a contribution to make, I will come. We welcomed the Al-Jamah invitation, and it was not an ANC invitation.
You know, once upon a time, you once...
But I want to correct something you say the electorate has put the ANC and majority of it, and we all accept that it's not going to leave anytime soon. After 10 years of its democracy, the ANC had no 10% or so in the electorate of South Africa. It took them 1912 to 1994 to be where they are. It took less than 10 years of the EFF to be where it is. Well, so that comparison is neither here nor there.
I guess conditions, conditions are different.
No, the conditions are the same. Yeah. The conditions are the same. The owners of the means of production and the property, the patterns of property ownership in South Africa are the same. What has changed? The whites are still ruling over us, except that we're given the so-called voting power. But the conditions are the same in as far as the founding of the revolution is concerned. The revolution was not founded on the basis of one man, one vote. It was the revolution was founded on the basis of the return of the land and the mineral wealth of our people. Has that changed from 1912 to where we are now? The reality is it hasn't changed. This thing of dating white people and thinking that's what we fought for, we didn't fight for that.
Okay, I guess it's an individual's choice, that one.
No, it's a fundamental objectives of the revolution. When the 1912 happened, at the core of it has never been dating white people. It has been the return of the land and the wealth. At the core of the differences in the revolution after the adoption of the Freedom Charter, the differences were based on what were the strategic objectives of the revolution, and others felt the leadership betrayed those things.
You once said, I think a couple of years ago, you once said if the ANC were to, let's say, adopt some of your conditions, there'll be no need for the existence of EFF because it means you'll become one.
Yes.
So in the event you come closer together with the ANC, let's say you then work together, in coalitions.
Yes.
So do you still stand by that statement?
Why would the EFF still exist if it has attained its strategic objectives, which are 7 non-negotiable cardinal pillars plus the supplementary cardinal pillars? We don't exist for glory. We exist for strategic objective, which are political in their nature. And if that has been attained without any pronouncement, the existence of the EFF will become irrelevant.
So
And therefore will die a natural death.
So you'd be willing to go back to the ANC and allow the ANC to lead?
Why would I go back to the ANC if I've achieved economic freedom in our lifetime? Leave me to look after cattle. Release me. Because I would have achieved that which I joined politics for.
Okay.
I didn't join politics for personal glorification and positions. If that which I joined politics for has been achieved, I must go back home and look after my children and their children and continue my own business.
Just a quick one.
Yes.
You're very scathing on the ANC, which I think it's understandable given where you come from. Let's say 2024, the electorate decides that EFF is the government. Perhaps in 30 seconds or maybe a little more, what would be the immediate tasks of the EFF to try and correct the situation? What will you do to deal with issues like illegal immigration, crime, decay, and so many things that are happening in the country?
The illegal immigration is not a big problem for our people. Our problem, as we see it, me and you here, is the electricity problem.
Yeah.
Let's return ESCOM to its former glory. Let's capacitate it. Let's refuse to dismantle ESCOM and separate its...
I think we'll get to ESCOM.
So that's the first one. The second one, we need to deal with issues of unemployment. How do you deal with unemployment? You need to industrialize. You need to make sure that as many manufacturing companies as possible are allowed to function, and you need to open new industries and protect the infant industries that creates jobs for our people. Decentralize industrialization and incentivize those who open industries in the remote areas. In that way, you create even jobs for people in the rural areas and in the urban areas. You need to fight crime. How do you fight crime? You need to liberate the generals of the police, not necessarily police, from the criminal syndicate. You need to remove the leadership of the police from the payroll of criminals. One man once told me that the people who get arrested for committing crime is because they don't commit it with the police. If you want to commit crime, you have to work with the police for you to be successful. We've got highly sophisticated and capacitated police in South Africa who cannot be defeated by anything. Once you see them not catching the suspects, you must know that somehow their leadership is involved in the crimes. Where they are not involved, they execute and they make sure that they deliver to our people. Then we need to give our people land. I mean, if you listen to the Premier of Gauteng saying, yes, we give RDP houses, but we need to start giving people pockets of land. That is an acknowledgement that a lot of our people don't need these glorified shacks called RDPs. They need a piece of land. And don't just give them a small piece of land. Give them more than what apartheid government gave poor Afrikaners. If you go to every dorpie, there were RDP houses of apartheid that was given to white poor people. Those yards of those people, of those poor whites, compared to the RDP houses that were given to our people now, the pieces of land that were given to our people through RDP houses, they go 3 times into those yards. What are you going to do? Because that should be a start, so that when we empower you, and you can build a house of your own, you should be able to expand in your own yard. But the RDP has occupied the whole land. You will never expand. So give our people land. Make health work, revive the public health, and make education fashionable and quality education.
On the issue of illegal immigration, obviously not exclusively, but a lot of crime is also committed by undocumented immigrants.
Yeah.
How will you deal with that, especially given that the AFF
Upload a file, click play, and I will read it out loud for you. Dear ladies and gentlemen, this is the 5th time I've sent a message to the government and citizens of South Africa. I was born in the time when independence was happening, and they started war against each other, and everyone was only seeking themselves and not thinking about the beautiful country and its development. Since I was a child, there's been continuous fighting. Now I'm old and going to pass away soon. Until this day, there has been no thought about peace and improving our country. Now here is another example of Congo. They started war and it's been going for more than 20 years. They never think to make peace. Instead, they want to fight and kill each other. We always have to remember who made this peace and the hard work he did to restore his country. He should be acknowledged and praised, and everyone should be living life to the fullest. You see this pattern? South Africa should all be united. Black and white people need to stop fighting each other. Instead, they should have a good government to support all the citizens so we can live in happiness and joy. When there's no peace, there's war and continuous problems for years. Sisters and brothers in South Africa, family and politicians are not different, they are the same. If families have violence and cheating between them, it causes many problems. It will give your enemies the power to destroy your family. They will bring a lot of fights and trouble, just like politicians. For example, in my country, when Uganda was becoming independent, peace was broken and there was violence. Many politicians fought to control the new independent Uganda. It divided the Ugandan people, and they started to fight amongst each other. When war began, enemies from outside the country came who did not want peace and joined the war. All Ugandans were trained to wage war. Violence destroyed any prosperity in Uganda. Brothers and sisters in South Africa, this is not the first time I have sent you a message, it is the 3rd time. My book was also a message to you. In the time of Mandela, he planned to fight white South Africans. But God allowed South Africa to avoid war, so all South Africans should be thankful to God. War spread from Uganda, everything there was destroyed. Ugandans had to flee their country as refugees all over the world. Outside of Uganda, many Ugandans couldn't find work or a good life. Dear brothers and sisters of South Africa, you have to protect everything you have now. If you lose it, it will be gone forever. Dear brothers, remember the good that white South Africans did in your country to allow it to grow and prosper. Africans and white South Africans, forgive each for the violence inflicted upon each other. Don't seek revenge, it will divide your people and destroy your country. Forgot independence from each other. My message to you all is to make peace as brothers and sisters together, to allow anyone of any color to vote and run for government. Every political party should be inclusive of both white and black South Africans. If the president is black, the vice president should be white and vice versa, while other ministers should be a mix and also include women. This will allow South Africa be in peaceful harmony, free from war, destruction and looting by other countries. I pray to God that you take action to protect your country, society and property.
immigrants. Yeah. How will you deal with that, especially given that the AFF is actually, I think, for the future, you are advocating for a borderless continent?
Well, what you are saying is unscientific because there's no an uncontrollable crime committed by illegal immigrants. Percentage-wise, is not correct. What is your biggest crime? Is contact a crime that is being committed? Is GBV, cash in transit haste, and all those manner of crimes? Go and check who's committing those crimes. Go and check who's committing GBV in this country. Go and check who's mugging people here in Johannesburg. So it's not entirely correct. There are illegal immigrants that commit crime in South Africa, but it's not out of hand. It is not an issue that is uncontrollable. And that's how we are going to get defeated when we deal with crime, if we don't make a proper diagnosis. And the diagnostic report that says illegal immigrants are the ones who are committing crime is going to lead into a wrong prescription of how we solve this illness. So there's no such a problem. Secondly, everybody must have documents. Even me, I'm not an illegal immigrant. I've got documents of being a South African. I've got an address. Let's regularize these so-called illegal immigrants who are here. Many of them are here because they are seeking asylum. Many of them are here because of political reasons. Many of them are here because of economic reasons that are happening in their countries. I'm not going to join a chorus that says we need to push them away. Many of them are not committing any crime. Yeah. So we need to make sure that we regularize it. We are able to put them in proper places where they can be located.
What do you say to some of the people who say, you know what, we love what the EFF is doing, but the manner in which their leader speaks about foreigners, so to speak, somehow dissuades us?
Don't vote for me. I don't want that vote. I don't want a xenophobic vote. I love my African people. The same way I love my mother and my grandmother. I'm in love with Africans. Africans are hated everywhere. You go to America, the black skin is a source of hatred. You go to UK, a black skin is a source of hatred. You asking me to join in the hatred of black people. I know what the hatred of my skin did during apartheid. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be asked that I should stand at the border, at the fence between Limpopo and Zimbabwe and block a mother who's carrying a child, only crossing to get a medication in Musina and going back to Zimbabwe because there is a problem in Zimbabwe. I refuse to join that chorus. And if that will not make me the president of this country, I'm happy that let me die with my conscience being clear than being a president who has emerged through selling out his own soul. Nobody asked me to feel like this. Yeah. I feel very strongly about black people. I feel very strong about African continent. And I would rather not be a president because I know for a fact that this is an establishment that is spreading this anti-blackness that we experience everywhere else. It's not true. There's jobs in the restaurants. There's Lesotho women who are working in our houses. Yeah. Our sisters don't want to work there. They've gone to schools. They want quality jobs. Not that they look down on these jobs. They are saying, I cannot, with a diploma, with N6, with qualifications, go and be a domestic worker. We want more. Who wants to go and work and be paid with wine in the Cape Farms? Who wants to do that of South Africans? Yeah. Let me and you take trucks and buses now and go and fetch those foreigners who are working there during harvesting season in the Cape wines. Let's go and take them and let's see what's going to happen to those Cape wines. All of those grapes are going to get rotten because our people will never agree to work in exchange for wine. Never will I. Nothing will persuade me. Not the results of the elections, not a gun on my head, not any form of intimidation will persuade me to hate on black people. I will never hate on Africans, not even for votes. Do not vote for me if you don't love Africans and you want me to hate them. I won't do that.
I think you're very, yes. You've even become emotional when it comes to this.
Yes, I won't do that. Yes.
Let's come back home to the issues organizational. Maybe let's touch on your friend, by the way. He's the Secretary General.
Yeah.
So did you congratulate him? Did you call him?
I met him several times since he won. I congratulated him. I have nothing against him, and I'm very happy for him.
So are you not worried that he may bring that kind of energy that the EFF has been tapping on in terms of getting the vote and all those things? I mean, this is someone you worked with. In fact, you learned a lot from him as well.
Yeah.
So,
well, you know, the good thing with the chief is that he's a hard worker.
Yeah.
Whatever he puts his hands on turns into gold. He works and he doesn't compromise when it comes to work. He is very unfortunate that he will be trying very hard to wake up a dead horse, and it's biologically and scientifically and materially difficult and impossible to do that. And he knows that. He knows that he's going to try, but he knows that it is not possible. He's not going to get anything out of it. He's just going to try with what is remaining. Highly divided organization. If you want to kill an organization, you must make the president not work with the deputy president, or make the president fight with the secretary general. Look at that deployment committee they announced today. All of it is Cyril's people against Paul Mashati. He's just presiding over something that he will not be knowing anything about it. How do you take Paul Mashatile to come to the State of the Nation address as an MP and put him at the back there, and then be swallowed by Mandla Mandela, that giant? You